Today I'll be presenting a little bit of my dissertation research, which is on the current distribution and status of eastern hellbenders in Kentucky. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with hellbender natural history, but for those of you who are not, hellbenders are habitat specialists. They occupy cool, fast-flowing, relatively clean river systems and use spaces underneath very large flat rock slabs or big boulders. So the larger the rock, the better for an adult hellbender. They're also highly sensitive to changes in water quality and overall stream condition. So because of that, anthropogenic changes throughout the eastern United States over the past few decades have resulted in significant population declines across the hellbenders range. We're seeing many local extirpations of historic populations, overall lower densities, and a shift towards older individuals that are no longer reproductively active. And so there's fewer nests being found, fewer larvae, and fewer juveniles during traditional surveys. However, the status of eastern hellbenders is relatively unknown in many portions of its range, including Kentucky. Anecdotal evidence indicates that Kentucky is experiencing population decline similar to other states. However, there hasn't been a thorough investigation into that question so far. So the objectives of this study is to determine the current distribution of hellbenders in this state and assess the current status of those remaining populations. So what are the densities? What are the demographics of those populations? And is there reproduction occurring? And so to do this, I conducted an eDNA survey across the state. I collected water samples from 90 sites across 73 waterways. 27 of those sites were historic populations, and so there was a historic record at that site within the last 100 or so years. So that was to assess the current distribution of hellbenders. And then to assess the current population status of our remaining populations, we conducted snorkeling surveys at 10 of our eDNA positive sites. So we spent over 182 person-hours snorkeling the streams this last summer, trying to find hellbenders, so that was a substantial amount of time. And then we also deployed 30 nest boxes across 6 of our eDNA positive sites. This is a hellbender nest box right here. It's just a structure that hopefully hellbenders will nest in instead of underneath really large rocks that we can't access. So it's an alternative method to determine if there's reproduction occurring in the population. So for my results, we found hellbender eDNA at only 16 of the 90 sites that we sampled. So this was way fewer sites than we anticipated finding. And then also only 9 of our 27 historic sites that we sampled were positive for eDNA. So that's only 33%. Again, really low compared to what we expected. And so these are really discouraging results. Now, on the plus side, we did find eDNA at 4 new undocumented streams, and so these are populations we did not know about previously, and there's no records in these streams prior to this study, so that was really exciting. As far as our traditional surveys go, we found hellbenders and nests only at 1 of our 10 sites that we conducted snorkeling surveys at. We did collect 1 nest, which is shown in this video here. That nest was sent to Purdue University for their captive rearing program. So this site is a tributary of the Licking River, and it is a positive control for our study. It's the only known population in Kentucky that's actively reproducing, so that's why we included it. So it's unsurprising that we found animals here, but it was surprising that we didn't find them in any other of the 9 sites that we surveyed. Also, we did not have any success with our nest boxes. That was kind of expected because we did deploy those pretty late in the season this past summer, and it does take a little bit of time for hellbenders to find those nest boxes and start using them. So hopefully in a few years we'll have success with those, but as far as last breeding season, we didn't. So some key takeaways for this study: we are seeing significant population declines and local extirpations in our historic populations, upwards of 67% based on the results of this study. We're also likely seeing very low densities and low nesting success and recruitment occurring in most of our populations. The fact that we spent over 180 hours in the streams and only found hellbenders and nests at 1 site indicates to me that our remaining populations are mostly composed of few individuals that have very low nesting success. And so for future efforts in this study, I will be continuing snorkeling surveys and nest box monitoring for the next 2 years. And I will also be applying my eDNA results towards an occupancy modeling framework to better gauge how confident I can be in my eDNA data, and as well as look at habitat and landscape variables associated with Hellbender occupancy. So that's it. Thank you so much.